Alright, hey everyone. Today we are doing a video on, from the polls in my community tab, we are doing a video on edged weapons for Minuteman considerations, defensive application stuff, silent combat, all that fun stuff. So, first thing here with Minuteman considerations. Again, unless you have to, do some kind of, much like in the military, some kind of sneaky operation, sneak up on a guy and, take him out, with an edged weapon, the silent kill. Apart from that, these are going to be last resort and ad hoc weapons when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, close combat. Something has to go very wrong, apart from, the prior example there and other things. Something has to go very wrong, like your weapon completely failing and things like that, to have to resort to going to close combat with close combat weapons, with edged weapons. Okay? Main key point here is, besides exigent operational needs or a situation dependent, something has gone very wrong for you to have to use one of these to take out a threat. Okay? That aside, we'll get into it here a little bit. So, as you can see, many different options of sharp, pointy things. Okay? Depending on what you have, with you for your kit, your loadout, your Minuteman loadout, and things like that, you're going to have probably one or two knives, right? Everyone absolutely needs a good field knife, okay? It's like these three field knives, proper size field knives, okay? Might have a smaller knife, something like that, or your EDC style knives, folders and things like that. Something like this, possibly as a secondary. And then you're probably going to have some kind of field tool that's also a weapon. Whether it is a machete or a kukri or axes or even... won't open. Or even a tree saw. Which I recommend having in your kit, especially if you operate in the woods, like I do in many other places in the country. Tree saws are very handy, and guess what? Hey, they're sharp. You can use this as a close combat weapon. Very, very much a last resort kind of thing, but it's a tool and an option. So, there's that. So, you have a lot of things here to consider. Again, you're going to have at least one kind of blade on you, if not two. To include a multi-tool, even though a multi-tool in close combat is going to suck because it's a real small blade. I just have here the practical blades, practical stuff. Field knives, carry knives, and then tools of various kinds. Axes, you might have an axe alongside or instead of a tree saw maybe. Also an entrenching tool or a shovel. My shovel's in my truck right now, that's why it's not here. Shovel too. World War I, they used shovels all the time for close combat in trench warfare, which was nasty. So, when it comes to clearing a trench, obviously weapons, firearms nowadays, and pistols and things like that, it's very easy to clear a trench. But, again, if something goes very wrong, and you do have to resort to melee weapons, you've got some options, okay? Depending on what you have, again, on your kit and everything else. Kukris are okay. Kukris and machetes are okay. Not the ideal field tool, though. A lot of the time you're going to have an axe, a tree saw, a shovel, or an e-tool or something. You're going to have something like that over this. This is a little bit more specialized. You do see, obviously, units like British Gurkhas and stuff, which is their bread and butter. This is their weapon. It comes from Nepal and things like that. And just, Asia Greater. It's an option, too. If you really want a nasty close combat weapon like that, I mean, yeah, carry it, but... you have some really good options here as far as field knives go and carry knives apart from ad hoc tools. This is a old Benchmade axe, which does not have a sharp blade on it. They powder coated the whole thing instead of sharpening it like an idiot. It's got a nice spike on it. It has a pry bar, so this is a pretty good tool to pick as well. Just sharpen the edge on it. I've had that for a while. It's not really like a safe queen or anything. I just kind of have it to have it. Again, as another backup. Yes, I need to get it sharpened. There, the axe edge sharpened. Other kinds of hand axes, things like that. So you have some options, and again, close combat weapons. So, rounding that off, a lot of choices, a lot of opportunities to have multiple tools on you for your last resort stuff, or the silent kill, you know. So, moving from there, techniques and practices when it comes with edge weapons. Okay, obviously axes, machetes, stuff like that, shovels, you know, that's much more brute force. You're just swinging and aiming for the head, you know, limbs, things like that. Okay, there's a myriad of videos out there of medieval combat practice with axes and things like that. Horstwick is one of them, and there's a bunch of others that I recommend go checking out for that kind of thing, apart from demos showing, hey, this is what happens with axes and shovels and stuff in close combat. When it comes to knives, technique-wise, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, pun intended here, when it comes to edge weapons and stuff, and your knives and things like that, okay? Military doctrine has some okay stuff on knife fighting. It's much more in the special operations side of it. I mean, like in the infantry, back when I was in the infantry, and with the Marine Corps and stuff, when I was in the Army and stuff, we still had bayonet training and things like that. So we got a little bit of knife training, more so in the bayonet sense, but a little bit of knife training as well. You do have to go out of your way to get knife training in a lot of ways, but there is a little bit of doctrine with special operations for knife combat. I also highly, highly, highly recommend Scott Babb and the Libre Knife Fighting Guild. Again, links will be in the description for some of these things and places to check out. Libre Knife Fighting Guild, Scott Babb has trained special operations and a bunch of other people in knife fighting techniques. I also highly recommend the William Fairbairn World War II Commando Combatives knife fighting technique systems, okay? There will be links for those in the description to Gutter Fighting Secrets. Yes, I am a partner with Gutter Fighting Secrets. I help with some stuff with Will for that organization, but we retail the Fairbairn books. You can also find them on Amazon and places like that, but I will have a link for those as well so you can check those out. World War II Commando Combatives. Still some of the best doctrine out there when it comes to knife application in a combat environment in the field, okay? There are other techniques and systems out there. Martial arts only goes so far, okay? There are good techniques with martial arts, and if you take a martial art, you know, good. We'll talk about combatives in the second video here. Hand-to-hand, empty-handed, hand-to-hand combatives. But when it comes to weapons stuff with martial arts, there is some good stuff out there, but it's become much more neutered over the years. You really have to go out of your way to find a legitimate martial arts establishment that will train you in the practical, realistic, lethal applications of edged weapons, okay? That's why I say the Fairbairn System, Libre Knife Fighting Guild, and there's some other organizations out there that do a really good job in teaching doctrine and providing material for edged weapon combat, okay? Another principle with edged weapon fighting: if the other guy has an edged weapon too, you are going to get cut. It is inevitable, okay? I have a lot of knife fighting training. With trainer knives and stuff, you come away with bruises and chalk marks and everything. It is inevitable you're going to get cut if you're going blade against blade. If they don't have a blade, then you absolutely have the upper hand, and you can eliminate the threat. It's going to take work, but a little bit easier. Primary aspects with close combat with edged weapons and with empty-handed combatives and stuff. You have to remember this is reality. Again, a lot of martial arts and MMA training is good, but again, it's meant for the octagon and in the ring and stuff. You need to go in advanced training and digest doctrine and material that is practical for real-world combat application, whether it's the street or a combat environment for Minutemen, whatever it may be. Okay, there is a difference, and there is a division of doctrine there, okay? You can be very effective and very lethal with edged weapons, okay? Just overall. So, conditionally and in anatomy study and things like that, which is another good thing. You should study anatomy, not just for medical understanding and purposes for your medical training, but also for edge weapon combatives with a blade and such. There are certain areas of the body that are extremely soft and squishy and have a lot of vital stuff and, you know, the meat sac juices running through it that you can stick and you can eliminate a threat very easily. One of my favorite places is in the armpit, actually. You have brachial, axial arteries and nerve clusters and stuff like that up there in the armpit. Major arteries and stuff run through there. Good blade like this, one hit up in there, and they have a very limited amount of time to live. It's even, much like the femoral area up in the armpit, it's very difficult to stop that bleeding just because of how the body is structured, and it's hard to, you can't really get a tourniquet around that area. You can pack the wound, but it's just going to keep bleeding, and it renders shock pretty much immediately, okay? Also, the throat, the eyes, the face, you know, areas like that. Sneaking up behind the guy. If anyone's ever seen the movie Uncommon Valor, you know the whole Wingate thing where he comes up behind and gets him, you know, at the base of the spinal stem, at the neck, the base of the head, from behind and stuff. Immediately paralyzes them, and then you go in and you're basically cutting the throat from behind and things like that. That's another good one. You know, the entire torso. Obviously, if the enemy is going to have body armor on, you're going to have to come in from the sides. Okay, so you're going to have to get in between the ribs. Anyone who's in the infantry may remember something about that with the law little saying that we had. The law, this is our domain. Are we not men? No, we are beasts, and you have made us beasts. We will not walk, we will not talk, we will not gather in the night. We shall only dress right, dress ready front. And as a last resort, we'll use cold blue steel and stab between the second and third rib and twist. They say that because on either side, the second and third rib, you're hitting the lungs and the heart. You aim a little bit lower on either side, you're going to be hitting the liver, the pancreas, the stomach, intestines, things like that. All that area in the torso, you know, big area. Back of the knees, another good one, you know, ankles and stuff, but you really don't want to be getting that low. You want to go for the brain, you know, the head, and basically the area from the groin up. You can attack the groin as well, yes. Besides femoral artery, you know, there's a lot of major vascular bleeding and shock rendering that happens when you target that area with edge weapons and things like that. So, really from the groin up, lot of spots on the body to cause serious damage and take a threat out, okay? There's a lot to study. There are all kinds of different things out there that you can learn from and people you can learn from. So Libre Knife Fighting Guild, the Fairburn system, and gutter fighting with knife fighting techniques and things like that. I'm also going to recommend Tommy Moore and Bill Wolf. If you don't know who those people are, link will be in the description for their channels as well. I suggest you go check them out. They do empty-handed combatives and edge weapon stuff as well. I'm also going to have another channel down there that talks a little bit more about some of the Fairburn combative stuff apart from gutter fighting secrets, okay? There is a lot to learn here, and there's a lot that you can take away. The main point is, apart from what kit you have, training. Practice, 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 okay? You can't just have these things and then think that you're good. You need to actually get some training and practicing. Get some dummy knives, practice with some friends, get a stab dummy, practice targeting, practice hitting parts of the body, you know, things like that. Practical application training so that you understand how you need to handle yourself and handle your blade and things that you can do in an adaptive form with combat to take out a threat, okay? And again, there's a lot to study and there's a lot there when it comes to that stuff, when it comes to all this. So, you know, find some things that work, you know, do some studying, find some things that work, and put it into practice, okay? That's the biggest thing here. I've covered quite a bit here. I don't think I'm really missing anything as far as the basis and the gist of edged weapon combatives and different tools and options and opportunities that you have with edged weapons. Again, these are last resort kind of things, unless you have to do, you know, a little sneaky. A lot of this is going to be last resort stuff. You know, you're going to be using your field knife for batoning wood and cutting cordage and doing all kinds of things, and same with these tools and stuff. But if it comes to it, whether your weapon goes down or you lose your weapon for some reason or you're not near it, whatever it is, apart from, you know, doing sneaky stuff and things like that, you better sharpen and hone some skills when it comes to edged weapon combat and just edged weapon application overall. Okay, again, there's a lot here. There's a lot of really good stuff out there, and you just need to find some things that may work for you and practice when you can. Okay, same principle for empty-handed stuff, but we will talk about that in another video here. Okay, so for edged weapon stuff, we're going to round this off here. I've covered quite a bit here. You have a lot to think about, and I'm going to be, again, providing a lot of links so you can check that stuff out. And yeah, that's really it here. So just wanted to let you have a nice little final look here at all the fun, sharp, pointy things. It is fun to train with this stuff. So, all right, links will be in the description for stuff. Find some systems that work for you. Get out there and train and practice. Okay, it's not just your firearm stuff. It's this kind of stuff as well. Do it safely, okay? Metal up. Out.